But where can wisdom be found? Where does understanding dwell? No mortal comprehends its worth. It cannot be found in the land of the living. Good morning and welcome to Coffee and the Word. In the book of Job, Job is trying to find some stuff out. He's trying to figure out why what's happening to him is happening to him. And if you don't know the story, what's happening to him is he is going through some stuff. He's lost his family. He's lost all of his wealth. He's lost, even his wife has told him to curse God and die. He's sick. He's got boils all over his body or some kind of disease all over his body. He is not having a good time. And throughout the book of Job, it's really a conversation between him and three friends. And I use the term friends loosely because it appears Job is like, where are my friends? Where are the people who are supposed to be encouraging me instead of telling me what a terrible, terrible, terrible person I must be? Because that's the only way I could end up where I'm at, is if I were a terrible person. And so the book of Job is Job and his friends going back and forth trying to discern why God does what God does. And then we get to this very interesting chapter in chapter 28 where Job begins this discussion about the concept of wisdom. And he literally starts in one of the most poetic ways possible. Listen to how he starts it. There is a mine for silver and a place where gold is refined. Iron is taken from the earth, and copper is smelted from ore. And he goes on and on and on and talks about all of these unique things that can be mined or found or discovered. And then he gets to this sentence. But where can wisdom be found? Where does understanding dwell? No mortal comprehends its worth. It cannot be found in the land of the living. The deep says, it's not in me. The sea says, it's not with me. It cannot be bought with the finest gold, nor can its price be weighed out in silver. It cannot be bought with gold or ophir, with precious onyx and lapis lazuli. Neither gold nor crystal can compare with it, nor can it be had for jewels of gold. In other words, if you want wisdom, you can't mine for it. You can't search for it. You can't discover it. You can't buy it. You can't get it because it's not to be found in the land of the mortals. It's not to be found among us. And so he is desperately searching for the answer to this. So where is wisdom found? Where does understanding dwell? How am I going to get to an answer to my question? And guess what? This is a problem. Not just for Job's time, this is a problem for our time. We are in desperate need of some wisdom right now, as has been the truth for centuries and centuries and centuries. So how does someone get wisdom? Where is wisdom and understanding found? Where do we discover it? How do we get there? If it's not available on this earth anywhere, where do we get wisdom? And Job comes to this conclusion. God understands the way to it, and he alone knows where it dwells. For he views the ends of the earth and sees everything under the heavens. When he established a forth with the wind and measured out the waters. When he made a decree for the rain and the path for the thunderstorms, then he looked at wisdom and appraised it. He confirmed it and tested it. In other words, the only place you can get this wisdom we desperately seek is from God. He's the only one that has it. So if you want it, you got to get it from him. If you want it, you got to search it from him. If you want to know what and why, you need to go to him. And it's really interesting. He says this on the heels of some people who are wise men, these three guys who are wise men, who are saying a bunch of things that God later says, who is this that darkens my counsel with words without knowledge? And then a little bit later, he says, your three friends don't know who I am. and they're not speaking truth about me. And we'll get to that as we go a little bit further. But in chapter 28, here is what Job finds out, or here's what Job declares. He said of God, he said to the human race, the fear of the Lord, that is wisdom, and to shun evil is understanding. You know, he's not the only one to have come to this conclusion. The Ecclesiastes writer comes to the same conclusion. Jesus comes to a very similar conclusion. James literally says this: if anyone lacks wisdom, he should ask God, who gives to all liberally. In other words, if you really want to know, you got to go to the knower. If you really want the information, you got to go to the person who has the information. If you want the wisdom, you have to go to the only one who possesses it. Unfortunately, we've been looking for wisdom in places wisdom can't be found. And the results have been destruction. The results have been all kinds of calamity. We need some wisdom. And now we know where to find it. Fear God. Shun evil. Ask God, and he gives to all liberally. I want to encourage you, and this is something that I talked about in my Bible study last week on how to study the Bible. Don't ever pick up a text. Don't ever start reading the Bible without first going to the Father who inspired it and ask him for understanding of it. There are great mysteries that are hidden. Throughout Scripture, we're told that over and over and over again. There are great mysteries that are hidden that are only revealed when a veil is lifted. They're only revealed when a petition is torn down. And God's willing to do that for us. If you've ever picked up the Bible and had a really hard time understanding it, perhaps the reason that you have such a hard time understanding it is because you're trying to understand it using your own logic and reason instead of God's revelation and wisdom. I hope that you'll take this lesson and you'll consider the fact that we all need to run to the God who offers wisdom freely and let him fill us with the truth. Let him expose and reveal what we need to know. Wisdom is only found in him. And then the next part, I love this last part. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of all knowledge, is what one scripture says. The fear of the Lord is about you respecting and honoring the supremacy, the sovereignty, and the beauty of who God is. And shunning evil is rejecting the lies that Satan throws at us. That's how you get wisdom. That's where you get understanding. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. This has been another edition of Coffee and the Word. God bless.